I remember back in the early to mid 2000s, trading card games essentially took over the world. Everywhere you turned to, whether it was the kids on the playground or literally your next door neighbor, at least or had an idea about the concept of what trading card games were. You know, you had your Pokemons, you had your Yu-Gi-Ohs, you had your Digimons, you even had your 2003 limited edition super valuable rookie LeBron James trading card. You know, back in the 90s when video games had just been starting to get popular, everyone went absolutely apeshit over the fact that you can do this. Yeah, that was how everyone was over a single piece of plastic. In modern times, I wouldn't say that the popularity of trading cards had necessarily died down. In fact, I'd argue that the demand for this particular commodity has only increased, but I'm not sure whether it's for the right reasons. Because nowadays, you got dudes like Logan Paul who got these cards literally wrapped around their necks like a gold chain. Also, in the past 2 years, most of the card unboxing channels I've seen are literally fighting for their lives, buying 50 packs a day in hopes of pulling a shiny Charizard or a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Like, do these people even pay for rent anymore? I feel like these trading cards were literally the forewarning of what NFTs are gonna turn out like. I'm glad I kept my old Pokemon collection that I used to have. I mean, I used to own like a Yu-Gi-Oh collection back in the day, but I have no idea where it is now. I mean, at least one of these cards should have some sort of value in them. Like, this one looks pretty cool. How about this one? Yo, tell me in the comments if this card specifically has any sort of value in it. Bro, this card has double colors, man. There's no way it isn't like $5,000 in a pawn shop. But that's not the main focus of this video, because we all know that if there's a super valuable trading card out there that's worth like $7 quadrillion, then chances are a fake rip-off version of that same exact card exists. But instead, let's take a step further, and now instead of just having a rip-off version of an expensive card, we now have a rip-off version of an expensive franchise. I think you can already tell where this is going. Duel Masters was a very incredibly weird trading card game. There was a franchise out there that received an incredibly bad rep when it came to being known purely as a rip-off instead of a standalone thing, then Duel Masters probably steals the crown in that entire category. Because if you really think about it, it honestly makes a lot of sense. I mean, come on, the resemblance is literally so similar. Like, the names are similar, the characters are similar, even the back of both cards look pretty damn similar. Although at the end of the day, the thing that you have to know is that Duel Masters actually was never a Yu-Gi-Oh clone to begin with. Yeah, I know, it sounds like a bigger lie than my upload schedule, but you gotta believe me here. In the year 1999, a man by the name of Shigenebu Matsumoto why did I say it like that? A man by the name of Shigenebu Matsumoto worked together with famous trading card and role-playing game company Wizards of the Coast to create Duel Masters, a new trading card franchise that initially started out as a manga in order to promote the popular American trading card game Magic the Gathering, mainly towards a Japanese audience. Now you're probably over here wondering why they didn't just title it a Japanese translated version of Magic Gathering that basically sounds like
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, there was no way I was gonna say that correctly. But since Japan is weird like that, I'm guessing a bunch of Japanese people sat together at a table, saw that Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters was hella popular at the time, so all they had to do was just switch the letters around, and then bam, you instantly got a multi-million-dollar smash hit. When Mr. Matsumoto initially created the manga, his idea was exactly what I just said a second ago. Basically just a Japanese version of the original popular card game franchise. We can see how apparent this is because in the beginning of the manga, the characters would all play Magic the Gathering. Duel Masters was so similar to that of Magic the Gathering that even the rules to the game were almost identical to how Magic the Gathering is played. Okay, Magic the Gathering is a huge mouthful and I don't feel like saying that over and over again. So for the sake of this video, I'm cutting it down to just MGT. The rules of playing Duel Masters go by as follows. 5 cards at random are taken from your 40 card deck and set up as your 5 shields. These cards will remain off limits until they are broken by an enemy attack, sending the cards into your hand where they become playable. After the play is made, a new card from the top of your deck will be drawn out before the beginning of your turn for the duelist. You also have 5 cards in hand to begin the game. At the beginning of each turn, you are given the option of choosing a card, which is a spell or creature, to put into your mana pool, which is what you tap to call upon the creature or spell within your hand. Note that the creature being called has to be summoned by the same amount of mana. Oh my god, okay, this is way too long. I'm not reading all these rules anymore. As much as some people may give this franchise a load of shit for looking very similar to that of Yu-Gi-Oh, the Yu-Gi-Oh clone allegations still didn't stop Duel Masters from being one of the most popular trading card games in all of Japan. In fact, the popularity of Duel Masters has landed the franchise with many marketable stuff over the years, such as 6 other manga spin-offs based on the series, such as Duel Masters Fighting Edge, Duel Masters Star Cross, Duel Masters Victory, Duel Masters King, and Duel Masters with an exclamation mark. There also have been many video game adaptations of this franchise that range from the old classic Game Boy Advance all the way to the Nintendo Switch. Duel Masters also had an anime adaptation that originally aired from 2002 to 2003, in which the overall quality of the show was...
Let me hear you. Who's the master? Who's the master?
A duelist needs to win a couple more matches before he can be that confident.
clearly lacking, but more on the anime later. Based on all the manga spin-offs and video game iterations that Duel Masters have received over the years, you can observe that over there in Japan, Duel Masters really seems to be the shit. And I know the fellow viewer who's watching this YouTube video right now is most likely asking, well, if it was so popular over in Japan, why is it like completely unheard of over here in the United States? And well, actually, for your information, in the year 2004, Japan brought the world of Duel Masters to the US through the anime adaptation, which was dubbed and distributed across a multitude of DVDs. DVDs weren't the only way you were able to watch Duel Masters though, because it was also featured on children's programs such as Cartoon Network and Hasbro as well. As Japan moved the Duel Masters scene towards the US, you can guess that they had high hopes in seeing an international smash success after striking the gold pot of success in their old country too. Here's even the commercial they showed over here in the US.
I believe in myself. Bullshock Dragon, attack!
Duel Masters from Wizards of the Coast, coming to DVD and VHS early 2005.
Yeah, well, that turned out to be a total failure. The main reason as to why the Duel Masters franchise didn't take off in the States was ultimately due to how established MGT was in America already. Since MGT had been released in 1993, 2004 would have been the trading card game's 12th year of an existing franchise, which would have already been a giant lead of sales and merchandise to profit off of before Duel Masters ever even came along. But did this stop Japan from trying again? Hell nah, because in 2012, Japan came back for round 2 and tried to release a spin-off series based on the franchise called Yugioh, The Rise of Duel Masters.
Yugioh, Rise of the Duel Masters. Competitive Dex booster packs sold separately. Unleash your power now.
Which also turned out to be another flop too. Some may say that the franchise failing twice overseas is some kind of shame, in which I'd honestly agree to a certain extent, because although the trading card game was incredibly similar to that of MGT, there were a few things that helped differentiate between the two. One of those differences were the creatures in Duel Masters. In my opinion, the characters in MGT are more fantasy based, with a slight bit of mythological inspiration behind them. Some good examples are characters such as the 100-handed one and
FBLTHP.
So I'm guessing me and Siri are apparently in the same boat here. I'm not saying that Duel Masters was completely non-existent of these type of characters, because you definitely had them, but since this is Japan, you know that motherfuckers gotta Japanify these characters and turn them into like mecha robots or like dragons with like machine guns for a hand. Some of my personal favorite Duel Masters characters include Spelljacker and Crystal Paladin, which I think Crystal Paladin looks actually pretty cool. Like, I mean, look at the art on that thing. Surely the anime adaptation won't absolutely butcher its design and coat it with horrendous CGI, right?
Witness the power of my greatest stratagem, the Crystal Paladin!
Okay, let's actually talk about the actual anime now. One thing I've realized with a lot of kids TV shows as of late, or just for a very long time, is that whether it's a kids show from America or a TV show from Japan, I've started to notice that when it comes to production value, a lot of these animation companies tend to make these kids shows kinda crappy, if we're being honest here. Because if there's one thing I personally learned throughout the years, is that kids are freaking stupid. And when I was a kid watching Yugioh every Saturday and this shit came up,
Hasta la vista, baby!
then honestly these companies can get away with basically anything. And in Duel Masters case, that possibly couldn't be further from the truth. Throughout the creation of this video, I learned that the 2004 adaptation of Duel Masters wasn't the only anime adaptation of the popular trading card game, but there's actually multiple. And when you look at the titles of some of these anime series, you can really tell that the producers in charge ran out of cool names for each show fairly quickly. Like here, for example, you got some pretty decent names for a TV show, such as Duel Masters King, Duel Masters Cross Shock, Duel Masters Victory V, and then later down the line we get Duel Masters with an exclamation mark. And then we got Duel Masters, but now with 2 exclamation marks just to add a creative side of things, you know what I mean? Obviously, I'm not going to touch upon every single adaptation that came out of this franchise in this video, but instead I want to focus on the original 2004 adaptation, mainly because it's the first one and also the most accessible one, which is helping my job become easier and making fun of it for easy YouTube views. And what's not a good place to start than the opening for this iteration of Duel Masters. The opening to an anime is probably, in my opinion, one of the key moments in making your anime a memorable experience for the audience. Even if the visuals to the whole episodes are actually quite shitty, then you can always count on the opening to have some godly visuals just to prove that the production quality behind the whole anime isn't completely dead in the water. And of course, we can't forget about music too, that also plays a huge role in making your intended anime opening a certified banger. Now in Duel Masters' case, I'm thoroughly convinced that the lyrics to the song in this opening are something that came out of a leaked Playboy Cardi snippet. Well, actually, since this was made in 2004, maybe change Playboy Cardi to like Eminem or something, I don't know. Now I can't really say much for the Japanese version, but in the English version of the song, you can tell that there's someone in the background who's trying to say a clear, coherent sentence, but it keeps getting overshadowed by another person just repeating the main character's name over and over again. And you don't gotta be a mad scientist to know that the animators behind this barely tried to make the visuals any less terrible than they already are. Now when we get into the actual content of the anime, I couldn't help but notice how absolutely horrendous the voice acting is.
Disqualified? Come on, let's go! What are you guys waiting for? The boomer's taken! Let's go! Let's go!
It sounds more like an abridged version of a Team 4-star parody than an actual TV production. The more I watch this episode, the more I begin to ponder the very question on who was in charge of giving this level of voice acting the green light. Like, there's no possible way each voice actor went into the recording booth while whining to a mic for 20 minutes or more and called it a day. Like, there's possibly no way. And then it hit me. Oh yeah, I forgot that this was a kid's show. Oh, but don't worry, cause the voice acting gets a whole lot worse.
I'm never gonna beat that guy with the deck I have.
Oh, don't be so hard on yourself, Joe. If you lose, it's not the end of the world.
If I wanted your advice, I'd have picked up the phone and called you. You know, all the stress is really not good for you. Would it be so bad if you lost?
Why are you speaking like that?
I would begin to go into the actual story portion of this TV series and tell y'all what the show is actually about, but the only problem is, I don't really know what the show is actually about. Personally, I would even say that my inability to comprehend the story is the most of my problems, because the show just flat out does a terrible job in explaining how their own game is even played. Like, no wonder this shit didn't take off in the US. Kids back in 04 were comparing their Duel Masters based on which card looked the coolest. Now, in the beginning of the episode, our main character, Shobu, is preparing to go compete in a Duel Masters tournament for a chance to win a grand prize of becoming the #1 Duel Master and get his gym badge or something, I don't know. He's accompanied by his 2 friends Rakuta and Sayuki, and while he's headed towards the site of the location, this grown-ass man is just chilling in his car while spying on a bunch of kids. Why is he there? I have no clue. All I know is that this plot is slowly starting to sound like another episode of To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen. Now we're at the tournament site. This dude Shobu is just destroying his competition. All his opponents are absolutely shooketh in their boots. So of course he wins the first round of the tournament. You know, everyone's cheering him on. This man Shobu feels like he's on the top of the world right now. Everyone got their eyes on this kid. Yes, I mean everyone, including Mr. Predator here. Now, next round, Shobu's next opponent is this bulk up Molinas wearing kid. After seeing Shobu absolutely curb stomp the hell out of his last opponent, he decides to cheat and use these super forbidden Duel Masters cards, which, I won't lie, they do look pretty intimidating. But then when the actual fight begins, Bullcup Boy, who looks like he may have the upper hand here until Shobu reveals that he has the literal power to manipulate cursed energy or something like that, and beats Mullet Kid easily. Now in the next scene, while Shobu is just chilling enjoying his trophy, the random dude just pulls out of nowhere. Oh wait, let me clarify before I continue. I'm just here to say that apparently the random ass dude isn't so random, considering the way this girl over here is thirsting over him.
Hey Shobu, that was a great game.
Thanks, Knight.
Maybe you and I should duel sometime down at the duel center. You know, just for fun.
You can't tell me this guy doesn't sound like he gets enjoyment off of picking cupcakes from young girls. There aren't really a lot of things to commentate about in the rest of the episode, mainly because it's not like I could understand a single thing that was going on anyways. And I'm not even joking, man. Basically, Mr. EDP over here decides that the reason why he was just spying on actual children for the entirety of the episode was all because he wanted to have a duel with Shobu, because you couldn't just walk up to him and ask the kid the question in the first place. As the two are having their duel, they do some crazy shit that was honestly both confusing and eye-catching at the same time. This man also has the ability to manipulate cursed energy. Why the hell are there Orbeez levitating out of this plastic card? And by the amount of craziness that this Duel Masters battle contained, I'm talking about these dudes were summoning some of the worst CGI I've ever seen. Oh my god. Like, what is this? A dinosaur wearing Saiyan armor? And this Triceratops has an actual helicopter on his back while shooting missiles at the same time. Yo, this show is wild. Honestly, as I watched the episode and did research for this video, I can honestly see how and why this didn't really take off in the US. As much as many people would make the similarities that this show was heavily inspired by Yugioh, the trading card franchise also seems to have taken concepts from many other related franchises as well. I'm really curious if anyone who is watching this video still owns a Duel Masters card or have any type of existing merchandise coming out of this trading card game. Again, thank you for watching this video. If you made it this far, then I'd recommend that you subscribe to the channel. I'm not even gonna promise when the next upload is gonna be. I will upload when I feel like it.